Coach. How are you, buddy?
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas. Man, I had my
Dave.
headset on, and that thing was so loud when you just called. Scared the crap out of me and Maddie.
Yeah, we may be a day late, but we are not $1 short.
Nope. All good streaks are made to be broken.
But the most important streak is two podcasts a week.
Oh, for sure. And you
Yeah.
know what? No one else will probably give you 3 this week now that we've missed our Monday.
No one else will probably even give you a 1 this week. It's
one?
a big hiatus. A lot of people, podcasts in general, usually don't really deliver during the holidays.
That's a good point.
They take time off, or they they do a lot of pre-recorded stuff, and as important as it was to try and get it in on Christmas Day, enjoying Christmas Day with her families was a little more important. So no apologies here.
Oh, I kind of sensed it. It was going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right.
Everything's going to be just fine. Did you get a tri-bike?
I did not.
Oof, bummer.
But I got a little cash, so it's going in the right direction.
Cash.
Yeah.
That's always nice. You can put that towards the future tri-bike fund.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't.
the plan.
Yeah, I did in fact get a wallet.
You got a wallet?
Yep, I actually got 3 to choose from, so all things are good. And that was it. Successful wallet, and the rest of Christmas was fantastic. So it was a good year.
Yeah, I saw that somebody got a bike.
Hayden, at least somebody around our sphere of friends got a bike, and Hayden got a a starter bike, or radio flyer ish, that he can almost reach the pedals with, but currently just likes to be pushed around so he can steer.
Yeah. Now tell the listeners how old he is, because new listeners. This is the Crushing Iron podcast. This is a triathlon podcast. And we get into it eventually, but sometimes we like to catch up.
Yeah, Hayden is, for you listeners, Hayden is almost a year and a half. So this was definitely a fun experience for him, but still, he still doesn't grasp the whole why the heck am I getting presents at, December 25th. He doesn't get the Santa thing, but he was super pumped for his toys. And we got him a table, like a play table that he can do stuff and draw on, and his bike. And so everything was a hit. It was fun, and it was nice to see his reactions. And Allie's parents stayed over with us Christmas Eve night, so they were here yesterday morning, and then my mom came over, and Allie's sister. So we spent the day letting him play as hard as his little heart desired to all of his Christmas stuff. And but yeah, it was great.
Let the spoiled life of a young man begin.
Yeah, well, not too.
I'm just kidding.
Not too spoiled. You don't get that much in our family, but he got stuff that usable, and a ton of books.
Functional. Did you make him listen to the Starkey podcast before he got on that bike?
He listens to it anyway. I mean, he's been around since the first one, so he's got that in, and he's big into reading right now. That's his favorite thing. Not technically reading, I guess, but he likes to be read too. That's his number one favorite thing right now. So, which is good. Likes to either do stuff and be active, or draw, or be read to. So we try to keep his any kind of screen time to a minimum.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't asked for a cell phone yet, or a phone?
He's not. Yeah, I mean, his words are limited, but he in his very limited word range, there isn't any phone or TV or iPad or any kind or computer. He only gets any quote unquote screen time when we're doing his nebulizer, his breathing treatment. So to keep him kind of chilled out while we have a mask over his face. But other than that, that's the only time he gets it. So
okay. I wonder if Starkey has any advice for beginning cyclists at 1.5 years old.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does too.
I'm sure he does.
I was thinking, I wish I would have asked him a question. It was something my brother and I were talking about because he's into cycling and he's more of a pure cycling interest factor. And we just started talking a little bit about the major riders in the world, the Tour de France guys and things like that. And I was kind of like wondering, how would Sturkey hang in that crowd? Do you have any thoughts on that?
He wouldn't hang.
No. But I mean, not now, but maybe is he got the goods?
I mean, if he went all in on it, he could probably hang in, and I would guess in certain areas. But I think he's
too big.
Yeah, too big. I mean, he's got some great power, but those guys are just their power to weight ratio is insane. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I'm sure he could hang. If he put his focus in on it, but it's not. So like those guys couldn't run or swim worth crap. So it's all relative to what you're trying to perfect. So
right. So have you had any other thoughts about trying? I mean, as you've seen probably through the Facebook posts, it's a little subpar training weather in my area.
No kidding. Or every area. I mean,
yeah, every area. Yeah, it's cold there too. I know.
Yeah,
you're in Nashville. I'm up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm in Nashville. Yeah, I mean, I even took three out of a 4-day span totally off. I usually get whatever Hayden gets, and as I got it, so I took 2 days off. I think the cold, wet conditions in our trail race. I think I dug myself a pretty big hole, and then had a couple hard days after that too. And then I think it just kind of depleted my immune system, and probably wasn't the greatest idea. But I took a couple of days off and tried to sleep as much as I could. And Hayden's been sick, and we're just kind of passing it back and forth, so trying to get rid of it. But got back out yesterday and and ran on Christmas. But yeah, it is. I mean, for here, I think it's like going to be in the 20s and then low teens this week. But then everywhere else is like, I mean, we had athletes posting like anywhere from 10 degrees to like negative 28 wind chill, which is just insane to me. Not even like outdoor running weather. You're just kind of cooped up inside, and it's basically, some days, while most athletes hate it, and some for good reason, like sometimes it's a treadmill session is the smartest session. Obviously with it being that cold, but you can't ever bundle up too much. And this is like the time of the year where I think as we're going into the new year and people are about to hop on their resolution train, and totally commit to upheaving their entire lifestyle to go on to bigger and better things in 2018. It's honestly like the worst time of year. Like if you think about it, like what if January 1st for the US was in like April? The sun's about to turn out. We're about to get more hours in the day. Your risk of getting a cold is much less. Like I feel like the success rate would be much higher. But now we're staring down the barrel of, we just had the winter solstice, so now we're on the back end of the shortest days of the year and all the darkness and stuff, but it's still going to be really cold. It's just going to get even colder, for most places. Like it's not till February or early March till where you really kind of get the peak of winter, and you're just kind of you're asking for increased activity, and you have a lot of people like cutting corners in terms of their nutrition, and they're training more. They're putting their body under all this, added stress, and then you add in like the weather and, fluctuating temperatures sometimes, like especially here in Nashville. That's what gets me. It's 61 day in December, then it's like 20 the next, and my sinuses and my body's like, what's going on here again? I don't get it. And so it's really, it can be how you deal with the weather and how you protect yourself and the decisions you make, just kind of a day in, day out. On a day in and day out basis really can kind of determine your longevity and consistency on whatever it is, this new path you're about to set out on, or just getting back in the groove. because there is nothing more frustrating than starting into a new groove and getting into it. Let's say you're like a week or two deep, and then you get a big cold snap or something happens, and you get stressed out, and then you get a cold, and then then you feel like you're right back to square one. Mm-hmm. And it's a big time of year to where prevention is the number one goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of always is in a way, but it's
yeah.
I think sometimes not sometimes, but always we should probably pay more attention to nature's cycle in a sense. I mean, the bottom line is when it's below zero and it's dark all the time, and I think those are just cues to that sort of hibernation. It's telling you to rest a little bit. It's God's plan of like, look, you can't always be balls to the wall. So, I mean, really, I've been trying to do the best I can to get in the pool a couple of times and do a little running, but for the most part, I've been kind of sleeping. I've had a weird mid-back soreness for a while, and before I got up here, and I've actually been kind of resting and sleeping a little bit more. And besides the fact that it tells me I need a new mattress at home, I've been sleeping on a different bed, obviously, and my back is feeling pretty damn good right now. So it's kind of like, I'm using this time to stay a little bit toned up and tuned up, but for the most part, I'm just rolling with the flow. And, I think we always talk about, like, don't lose it and kind of keep going, but it's just very difficult around the holidays. I mean, we've talked about holidays and how,
Well, the biggest thing is to not, like, because, I mean, it is, there's nothing wrong with taking extra days off. There's nothing wrong with, being a little more free in your nutrition and eating. I mean, I was joking with, yeah. Oh man, you got a security camera in my house?
I don't know, no man. It's just that my mom always makes a tub of it. And
oh, dude, Allie made that. I don't know. It's not called Chex Mix, but it's they use Chex Mix and it's got powdered sugar on top and something in the middle.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. So that's been around the house, and we had a big breakfast here, so there's all these leftovers, and so it's listen, there's nothing wrong with taking extra days off. And I even went through this with my days off. I was like, man, I've had on this great streak since October, and I'm taking a couple of days off that I didn't want to, but then it made it easier for me to do it because I thought back to we covered on our previous podcast was that's why you try to stay so consistent and work hard to not take days off. That way, when you have to, you don't feel so bad about it. Mm. But for me right now, it's is it okay to take some days off? Absolutely. Don't feel guilty about it. And same with your nutrition, how you eat. But at the same time, just don't throw it all away. That's one of the biggest not misconceptions, but kind of faulty and just kind of the way that people they gorge over Christmas, and then they're New Year's, I'll just kind of I'll mail it in this last week, and then they start January 1st, and they just literally all you have to do is, if you've really just eaten total shit for a week, if you just really minimize your calorie intake and eat well and drink a lot of water, you're going to drop a couple pounds. And so people spend January 1st, the 3rd or whatever, the first week, dude, I'm already losing 5 or 6 pounds. I'm yeah, the 5 or 6 pounds you put on literally last week.
Yeah.
And so they get fooled into this if I keep hitting this diet and just doing this exact same thing, then I'm gonna continue to lose at this rate. I'm that's just not how it works, and it's okay to put on a few pounds, and it's this isn't the time of year to try to be hitting your race weight or trying to be hitting, certain markers or power to weight thresholds. It's okay to take days off. It's okay to take that mental reset, because I do think that it's needed in terms of a mental and physical break, to connect and really with family. I gave my athletes kind of a choice day. If you want to work out. If you don't, then don't. and some people did, some people didn't. But I think it's always really good to connect with like people during the holidays and your family and your friends, and because those are the things and the people that drive you and allow you to do what you want to do the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sharing like your goals and your dreams for the next year, like, not just, I guess not just only sharing them like, 2018, I want to do this, like, but also thanking them for how much they've supported you this last year and how good you did, and like, we're always so critical of like, oh, we didn't do this, so we got to do it next year.
Yeah.
And it's like,
next year.
It's like, I even had this thought the other day. I was watching something on TV, and I was like, I really want to get out of the habit of saying, well, what went wrong, or that's not, or that's wrong. Like, it's not always wrong. We don't always do wrong things, or we don't do it, or we don't. It's just because it's not right doesn't mean it's like 100% wrong. It just means that there was a part in our process and our thinking and our action that didn't make it to the end. It's not faulty. I always really, really drive home with my athletes, like, it's not success and failure. Like, every day's training isn't success and failure. Like, you didn't fail a workout, or you didn't just, like, it's all trial and error. And you just get up and you try again, then you learn something, you do it again. And that's how I think we should always look at, at the past year and then towards the year that we're going into. But but back to like the people, is like connecting and spending time, and like, and I mean that was part of my reasoning, by not being like super stressed about, making sure we got out, a 20-minute, probably subpar podcast on Christmas Day. It's like, I want to, I don't want to spend time with my family and Hayden, and I don't want to take any time, because they're, that's, a driving force behind what we've done and what I've done this last year, and then will continue to be this coming year, and so I just think it's important to be okay. And if you want to just sit around, on your couch and eat a bunch of wings and chips and salsa and watch, crappy college football bowl games, then have at it.
Yeah.
But if you want to just like take a day off and rest, and then connect and tell people you appreciate them and how much they've meant to the past year, and how you really hope and look forward to having them along with the same journey this coming year, those are the kind of things that you really can like put in your bank and not feel guilty about. Like don't be the guy on like, don't be the guy that was on Christmas yesterday at the gym posting a picture of like #no days off.
Yeah,
like, come
that's
on,
good.
Like give me a break.
Well, there's also like I think an inherent guilt amongst a lot of us, because I don't want to say, I don't think, what is it, type A that most of us are? I don't think I'm necessarily type A, but in some ways I am. But you always have that drive all year round, and it's about, it's uncomfortable sometimes just settling in for about 4 or 5 days and not really being that person and reconnecting and sort of sharing yourself with others and being shared with, and that actual process is part of the recovery process to me. I mean, every time I even come home, no matter what time of the year it is, if I hang out with my family and friends from back in the day, I just feel a new charge about things. It's a recharging event, and I think it's very difficult for us when we get kind of down that road of, every day we're out running by ourselves or riding by ourselves, and it's a good, holistic sort of healing necessity for people like us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's also about that, like, that acceptance of, like, it's okay to not be, like, just don't be distracted.
Yeah.
Because like that's what we find ourselves doing, like, this time of year. Like, we can't, if we choose to take days off, but then in our mind we're like, but like the whole time you're sitting there, quote unquote, taking your day off, you're still mentally like in anguish. Like, I should be working out, or I can't believe I skipped it, or I'm going to lose so much fitness, and this and that. And so you can't even like really enjoy what you should be, which is like family, friends, rest, recharge, reflection, whatever it is you choose to be. Like, that's That's what you should be doing. So like make a choice, and if you think, oh well, maybe the whole day off isn't what I need, maybe I just need like most of the day off, then to go out for like a 20-minute run. Like I had a lot of athletes that just went out for like 20 minutes on Christmas Day just to like get something in, so they could free up their mind and the whole rest of their day, instead of like just going along the rest of the day thinking, yeah, but I'm not doing this. It's like pick one thing and do it. And whatever's going to set yourself up for success, then then do it and make a choice. But it's so hard to do right now. But if you really want to hit the ground running, whatever it is, like if you're going to wait another week to do it, then do whatever. But it's go all in on either go all in on resting or go all in on staying consistent, but don't kind of huddle in between, because then you're just not going to really appreciate or recharge at all, because you're just going to be kind of straddling the fence.
Yeah. And for me, that was that I went all in on the rest yesterday, and that included a binge watch of the new Peaky Blinders season. My goodness.
How is it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, really? I've been in since day one.
I couldn't get past the first couple episodes.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that it's kind of like that deal where we always talk about like how it's sometimes you don't like a band right away, but they end up being your favorite band after you start getting it, because it gets deep, and it's just like, I don't know. They came out with it. I think it was yesterday. I just happened to let's look at Netflix, and there it was. I said, I'm going to watch one.
Day's over.
And they have 6 episodes, and it was pretty much 6 hours of Peaky Blinders. And now it's like, you talking about ridiculousness. They won't have the new season out for another year. So it's like, you wait a whole year, and then it's just gone, man. I'm not. That's sort of like my Chex Mix cookie. Just go through it, man, hard. Just go hard.
Yeah, we binge watched a little bit yesterday, but it wasn't on Netflix. But
and then
yeah,
how about laughing? Laughing's good too. This is a quick little thing. My brother and my family's here, and we don't do huge present deals, but we kind of go down on Christmas morning and open presents. And my dad's a big History Channel guy, and about halfway through the present thing, we realized the TV was still on, and it was on war movies. When the troops came up to Normandy, we just started cracking up, man.
That's hilarious.
Christmas presents. I think there was music on too, Christmas music, and then they had war movies.
Wow.
Like, what? So we just started cracking up, but man.
Yeah, we had a similar thing. It wasn't to that extent, but like on Christmas Eve, Allie and I found ourselves watching this documentary on Netflix about Hasidic Judaism. I just always enjoy like learning about like totally different cultures that I just have like no clue about, because I just find it really interesting. But it was about like Hasidic Jews, and I guess a couple people that are like quote unquote escaped whatever, like that, their religion or whatever they call their I want to say it's like a full or flat, I don't know, whatever it is, like their group, and then like all the things that they believe in, and it was just. But I was like, here we are watching this on like Christmas Eve, when like the rest of the world's watching like Christmas stories, or the opposite about movies about Christianity and stuff like that. So we kind of had the same kind of revelation. But I just in general like watching and learning about different things. That same reason I get excited when the Winter Olympics come on, because I literally have like zero knowledge of any of that stuff, but it's still people performing at like the highest level that have spent so much time and effort focusing on this one thing for 2, 3, 4, maybe even a lifetime. And then just to watch how they go about the stuff that they can do. I think it's just always neat to watch people on display of something they've tried to perfect it, and that they're literally the best in the world at. I think it's just always neat to kind of pick up on little tendencies, and that's the things that they say. I always find it just fascinating to listen and watch. But yeah, I mean, back to what you were saying about we are in like the biggest week of limbo in the year, without question. is that Christmas Day to January 1. It's like the mail-it-in week of the year. Because it's not even like, oh, I'll just start again on Monday. It's like, I'm just going to start again next week because it's next year and it's January 1st. But therein lies the debacle in the conundrum with a lot of people is that now everybody likes to start on a quote-unquote Monday. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people are going to be probably forced to rethink their New Year's Eve night habits.
Or
partying because they're going to wake up on a quote-unquote the first Monday in 2018 and things might not be sitting too well. You might have a little hangover, you might have stayed up too late, you might have eaten like crap, and then you're like, man, because it's funny. Like, if you ruin a Monday, how many times you just mail in the whole week?
Yep. This is a double whammy.
It's a double whammy. And you're like, and then like it's like missing one day of the week. You're normally like, no big deal. But if you miss Monday, it like immediately devalues the whole week. You're like, yeah, but I'm just gonna spend the rest of this week planning how I'm gonna start. Just stop it. Like, I've done it before, and like that was one of the biggest reasons I got out yesterday, even though it was a Monday and it was Christmas Day. I was like, I should get out and do a little bit of run because I want to keep my week rolling, and I want to feel good, and I don't want to just do the I've already missed a few days. What's a few more? We get in that steamroll effect no matter what it is, and it's so hard to break the monotony of either consistent workout days and how horrible it is to miss a day, or the more days you miss in a row, how much harder it is to get back on the train. And how we just kind of throw away days and weeks, and I'm just gonna get. And I hear it as a coach too. It's like Monday and Tuesday. I'm gonna focus, recharge, and I'll get back on it next week. I'm like, we still have 5 more days. Like there's still a lot of value to be gained over these next 5 days, and so you look at the whole rest of the year, and it's just, and I've done this. I'm total guilty of this in the past. Is you fall short, quote unquote, or you feel like you fail on like a Monday or Tuesday. How much time and effort and energy you spend for the remainder of the week, quote unquote, planning. Writing on a notepad, like creating your training schedule, doing this and doing that. I'm like, all that time you really could have just gone out the door and like ran for 30, or felt better and got back on the horse. But like, it's so much, and we talk about that like dynamic when it comes to like signing up for races. It's so much fun and so much, and you get so pumped up to sign up for a race and plan my race calendar and do this, and then it comes down to the execution. You're like, oh shit, like now I have to execute it. It's really easy to make a plan. It's really easy to write a plan. It's really easy to, sign up for races. But when it comes time to executing it, because we have no pressure. When you sit down and you make these quote unquote resolutions for your next year, like there's zero pressure. Like you could just say whatever you wanted to and be like, because you're probably going to forget about them anyway. But it's the follow through. And it's the motivation and the commitment that you have within yourself, that you put on yourself to succeed, is what's going to actually be the determining factor if you meet or surpass or fall short of all these goals you're going to make. I know we talk about it all the time, but it's the days that aren't fancy. It's the days that you think don't matter, but when you add them all together, create a huge percentage of what you're supposed to do throughout the course of the year, and that's what kind of makes this week so difficult for so many people. It's a tweener.
Yeah, when you talk about kind of blowing off, or you've talked about Mondays before in general. A lot of times coaches will schedule Mondays an off day, and that kind of gets under your skin. Correct?
Oh, it does.
Well, because it becomes
random pointless days off in general annoy me, but especially the Monday day off.
So, like when you talk about and I do that too. When you fall into these spots where you're like, well, let's just plan it out. Well, it's not working out. Let's just plan out the rest of the week, or start writing down goals or planning these things out ahead of time. And I was listening to, I think it was a Tim Ferriss interview the other day, and he was talking about, and I think this actually is a Tony Robbins thing, but when you start, all right, so like let's say if today's a Monday or whatever, and you decide, well, I'm just not feeling it, or it's not going to happen, I'll just plan out whatever. So that basically tells me that you're probably not in the prime state of mind or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like, anyway, the short story is that Ferriss was talking about, he learned from Tony Robbins that it goes from state to storytelling to strategy. So in other words, he talks about, before you start writing your story or planning your thing, get in the right state of mind. So do it when you're in the right state of mind, and then you can write the story out, and then you can develop the strategy. And a lot of times we skip the state of mind part, and we just start writing out stories when we're not in the right state of mind, and that's not really what we want anyway. Or a lot of times we're not making the clearest decisions because we're not there. So a lot of times, if you don't want to go, just like you're saying, just get out and make a run. In other words, like, I think the lesson there would be, go do that 20-minute run, 15-minute run, and then start writing out the story.
That's such a great point, and like a great layout, and especially for this time of year, because a couple things is, one is like what I I think it's just human nature that, for example, you've got an athlete who's planning their own training, and they plan out 10 hours for this first week, and they fall short, and then they're like, I'm just gonna start over. Well, then the next first week is always 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yep.
Because they're not in the right state of mind, so then they overcommit. And we're like, oh, I'm just, you know what? Because next week I'm gonna be on it. Bring it on. I'm like, stop it. Like, what's gonna really, really change that much between now and that's something that, like, I just concretely drive home with any new athlete I work with when I give them their first week or two. I'm like, listen, look at these first 2 weeks, and I don't want these words to come out of your mouth. I don't want you to say, yeah, I can probably get that in. I want you to say,
resounding.
I can get all. Yes, exactly. I want you to say, I can get all of that in and probably more. Then I know I've gotten the right volume, because I wanted to set you up for success. Because you're going to have a little room for error. You got to have a little room to maybe go over if you have the time. But we don't like that. We always like to overshoot. Man, I didn't finish that sprint. You know what? Let's sign up for an Ironman. I'm like, maybe not. But you're so right about the state of mind that you're in. And I even had this conversation with an athlete who was texting me back and forth about, she was kind of in a huge rut. I mean, she lived in Florida, hurricane ravaged her whole house, her mom's house. I mean, just really just threw her life upside down. And she, she sent me an email and was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this and this. I'm like, well, why? Well, I don't know. I think, I'm like, well, maybe that's not the best option. It's like, let's work our way backwards as we should have from we should have gone the start to, beginning to end. But since you've already thrown out the end, let's work back to the beginning. And then let's move back forward and see if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we did it, and she came up with a totally different race, months later. But it's because we talked it through, and you have to get in a different state of mind. But that's just, I think that's how a lot of us are wired, is we always want more and more and more to kind of justify the less that we're doing at the current moment.
Sure. Yeah, that's.
But I totally agree. This time of year, get in the right, and that's also the reason why you see so many people sign up for an Ironman than the days following completing one. It's not that you're in the wrong state of mind, but are you really? You're still in that euphoric state. You remember, because all you remember at that moment is you remember all of the good, all the great training, all the perfect training, how great I felt to finish an Ironman. You forget all the weeks you were like, I can't believe I signed up for this. or how stressful it was on your life, and then you just commit to it, and then now you've got it. And so that's such a great point. It's just, the state of the mind that you're in, the closer you can get to being 100% and totally objective, the better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had to make that decision earlier a couple of months ago when I was trying to plan out my 2018 race schedule, and I was picking my big race of the year, and the one I'm not telling anybody about is I had to really do some really hardcore inventory about what I should sign up for, why I should sign up for this, and then why I shouldn't sign up for this. Even though I really, really wanted to, if I stepped back and looked at it and said, what's the best for me? In the right state of mind, doing the right thing that suits my abilities the best. What's the answer really going to be? And it was totally opposite of what I wanted to do. But it took me time to think it through, and even talking to Allie, it was just okay, now it makes sense, and now I love it. But it's that state of mind, and then you get to the story, and that's next, right? The story, then the strategy. State of mind.
Oh yeah, story, strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you write yourself, or what your story hopes to be, and then the strategy of how to execute it.
Right, and the other thing, I texted you this, I think, on the way.
That's awesome.
My way back was the other thing. He the Tribe of Mentors is the new book he's got, and he said while he was making that, it kind of came to him. He came to this sort of new perspective on his life philosophy, which is basically, what would this look like if it were easy? And then you can substitute easy with fun. So it's kind of like, if I put that into perspective for right now in my days, because I'm talking about going to work out with my brother, maybe hit the pool, and my gut's telling me, boy, you've been really slacking. You might need to knock out 3,500. But my head should be saying, what would that look like if it was fun? And for me, that's going to be just kind of flop around and just swim for a while.
Yeah.
Because just getting in a pool when it's 1 degree outside is a hell of an accomplishment.
It is a huge win.
Yeah. So, you're going to spend 20, 30 minutes max in there or whatever. If that's how I go into that, you never know how that's going to work out in the end. But to me, that sounds fun.
And usually, we don't think this way, but usually fun comes with restraint. Yeah, because the restraint brings upon so much less pressure and expectation. I did kind of the same thing. I was sick for a day, and I took 2 days off, and then I went and swam on Friday. And I was just to kind of get things moving, because generally when I swim, as long as I swim easy, it kind of generally clears out my head, and then I was going to sit in the steam room for a little bit, and I got in, and I felt awesome. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, dude, I could just crush a 4,000. and I got out after 1,000.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the point wasn't to come prove that I hadn't lost it. The point was to come and get some in, so that I can continue to work my way inch by inch towards this goal. I don't have to prove that I haven't lost it, and I don't have to prove that I've got it all in one day.
Right. In the metaphor, we're climbing a mountain, and we don't want to crush ourselves on one of the stages. You have to be able to have enough left to get better and go up the next stage.
Yeah. So, or I didn't do, today I didn't do so well on this stage of the race. So tomorrow I'm just going to lead from beginning to end and just bury myself.
Yeah. Right.
And then the next week's either going to be torture, or I'm going to have to drop out.
Right.
So it's that we just lose sight so much, and I say this all the time on the podcast to the athletes. It's just listen, don't sacrifice long-term goals for short-term gain.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it all the time, or we set ourselves up on this for I don't want to say a long-term, it's failure, because it's not, but we're in the wrong state of mind, and we just capture ourselves in this state of mind, and then we forget that the rest of the year we just may not be in that same state of mind all the time. Mm-hmm. And which is fine. You're never going to be in the same state of mind the whole year, but It's understanding and accepting that, listen, not every day is going to be awesome. Not every day is going to suck either. More oftentimes than not, they're going to fall in that like 80%, where it's just kind of like, yeah, today was just today,
Yeah.
and but that's never when we make decisions. We make decisions on the crappy days where we either want to quit or we want to like go out the next day and set 10 PRs to justify the shitty day. Or we go out and we had an incredible day, and so now we want every day after that to be equally as incredible.
Yeah. Good luck.
Exactly. It's never going to happen.
Unless you have the mindset, yeah.
Right, but it's
incredible can be average.
Exactly. And like there is nothing wrong with being incredibly average and consistent, because that's going to usually lead to something extraordinary. It's all those ordinary days, those 80% of the ordinary that lead to something extraordinary. But we never make our decisions in like, because they're not impulsive. It's like something terrible or something great. It's like it's the flight or fight with triathlon. Mm-hmm. I'm either going to quit or I'm going to change everything up, as your flight, or you choose the fight, which is I'm just going to sign up for like 10 more races and redemption because I want it, even though I don't think it's the best thing for me, and I'm just going to do it. And you're like, maybe that wasn't the best decision.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I mean, it's there's not really a perfect answer. It's just, you can, somebody told me that if you're thinking of a decision, obviously sleep on it, but your first thought's probably wrong, your second thought's still probably wrong, your third thought might be right. Mm-hmm. But it's just thinking through it, and which we don't want to do, because then it might take away the endorphin rush and the excitement of that. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm in. I'm putting it on Instagram and I'm putting it here. I'm in for this. 2018, 11 months away. And then you wake up the next day and all that's gone.
And you're like, oh, damn.
Because tomorrow's just a 30-minute run.
Yeah, it's like
damn it, that's not really exciting.
It's the football team that comes out in the first quarter and they're just going balls to the walls and they're crushing everything. They're up 10-0, and by the time they get to the fourth quarter, they don't even want to play anymore.
Yeah.
They're just like hiding and running away and getting mauled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they see the team that's totally patient and like, all right, I'm just going to let you go. The Rumble in the Jungle, whatever that boxing match was, it was Ali and Foreman. Mm-hmm. And Ali just let him just go at him for 11 rounds. No, you can't last. Like, I see you churning out. Like, and that's one of the things that's so hard to like drive through with athletes, is that like, I know you might see so-and-so logging like 15, 16, 18 hours doing these like epic workouts in January. And you might want to like do that, but I'm just going to tell you that in April or May, when they're either hurt or on the shelf or just burnt out, that's your turn. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't burn your biscuits in January. Start making the dough.
Warming that oven, man.
Start preheating that oven. Start making the dough. Start getting things out. But and be prepared and get things in order and get get the state of mind and then what your story wants to be and then your strategy, and then just be patient enough to not want to jump to the end, and just be patient enough to stick to your strategy, knowing that your story is yours. It was a couple podcasts, because a really popular podcast is called, Write Your Own Story. Mm-hmm. Don't deviate after 5 or 6 chapters because somebody else's story might look appealing.
Right.
It's not your end, and that's this time of year. And so just stick with it, be patient, and then you'll be ready when the time is to. And that's the thing. Right now, you're training so that you can train in a way that'll prepare you how you need to train when the time is right, not vice versa.
You're so right, buddy.
Hey, every once in a while.
So how's your week looking this week? What do you got kind of on the...
Keeping things rolling. No days off. It'll be logistically harder to get things in this week just because Allie goes back to work tomorrow, and then I've got Hayden solo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it'll be some challenges, but it just means I need to get creative and do things, a little bit out of order, but it still gets in, and so it's just but probably get a ride in, maybe a run today, or maybe just one, depending on how the flow of the day goes, and knock everything out the rest of the week. So that's the week, and I think honestly our front door got a little action while we're recording this podcast. As I peek out through the blinds, I believe my tri-rig base bar, aero bar, and front brake setup has arrived.
Oh.
So I'll be taking some pictures of my current bike, the Cervelo P2 with its current front end, and then of the parts that I ordered, and then the final build and what it looks like and how much I hopefully will be saving with some adjustments to the front end. So that'll be a nice little post-Christmas present for me.
This sounds like a little RB Rainmaker.
It could be. I'm excited. I've got a couple.
You're gonna do like a 20-page post on
it's
breakdown in that.
Okay. Not gonna be that, but I'll definitely take some pictures and get it up. And I've already had a bunch of people ask me about it that have in a similar circumstance in terms of their current bike and wanting to upgrade to getting faster, but not necessarily wanting to break the bank. And so hopefully I can be happy that this can help them not break the bank, but still get just as fast.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I can't wait to see it personally.
Yeah, me too.
We should maybe do a makeover with my bike. Is there anything we can do to salvage it besides get traded in?
I think we'll have to look at it again.
We'll take a closer look. I don't know how we can make it bigger.
Back to town,
Can we make it bigger?
We can elongate it. Yeah, maybe we'll shove some Viagra down the down tube.
Yeah,
and see if we can wait the next day, and it's gotten a little bit longer.
That old school. Maybe we could do something to the forks, elongate, and maybe add another fork to it.
Sure. Yeah, like a spork.
Spork.
Yeah.
So now that Christmas has come and gone, and you've bought all your gifts for everybody else, I think you deserve a gift for yourself. It should be a nice crushing iron visor or something like that.
It should be. We had a ton of people posting these as a Christmas gift, which was awesome. We have 3 different visor styles, 3 different hat styles. They're super popular. We have some left and a couple shirts. So if you're interested, shoot me an email at c26coach@gmail.com. You can also view them along with additional information on coaching, camp, swim analysis, our blog at the one-stop shop, which is crushingiron.com. And I made a little a Facebook post about this earlier, but it is a time of year people start to plan their future and take on different endeavors and have big goals and journeys, as we've kind of alluded to and talked about on this podcast to an extent. But is every great why needs a great how, and if you're looking for the how, then I'm confident that our coaching and training plans and options will help you get to where you want to go for 2018. So if you're interested in that, you can again view more details at crushingiron.com, or you can email me directly at c26coach@gmail.com.
Excellent. And as always, we've got a very active, close Facebook group. You can get in there search Crushing Iron Group on Facebook and send us a request. We'll let you in there. And now's the time. People are reaching out and helping each other and supporting and answering questions and getting kind of fired up because, yeah, it is the week of limbo. But starting next week, bro, it's going to be
all in.
It's going to be the sun will be in our face and we'll be riding on the road towards all of a
whole new year. It's exciting.
ABC races, everybody's got them all out there, and we're going to get through this week, and we'll be ready to rock it going into the new year.
Ready to roll.
Ready to rock, ready to roll, and I think that's about it,
That sounds good to me.
Got a lot of
Tell your family I said hello.
I will.
And Merry Christmas.
Definitely. Same to you.
I will definitely
share it, and I'm not exactly sure when I'll be back yet, but it should be soon-ish.
We'll see when you get here.
Yeah, I'll see you when I get there, and I might wait till it warms up. Well,
yeah, I would too. It's not going to warm up this week, so you're going to have to wait for a while.
I'll see you in February.
Sounds good, man.
I'll see you at camp.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, we got camp. Oh, wait, camp. There's a few camp openings still. Check those
August.
out.
Yeah, April and June are sold out. If you have any interest in August, hit us up. Let me know if you have any questions about the details of camp or want the itinerary and schedule, pricing. Hit me up, c26coach@gmail.com.
And check out our other 120 podcasts.
Yep.
This would be a great week to do it. Catch up on all 120 if you're just new.
Driving or sitting or taking days off.
Yep. Okay. I'll catch up with you soon, buddy. I'll let you know how
All right, man.
goes. All right, man.
See you, dude.
Bye.